It is Wednesday morning, 9 a.m., and the cranes at the port of Long Beach usually move like a rhythmic machine. But today, the massive steel arms are locked in the upright position, pointing motionless at the grey sky. You look out at the horizon, usually dotted with container ships waiting to dock and unload their cargo. Today, the horizon is empty. The ships have been ordered to turn around and return to their ports of origin. This is not a labor strike, and this is not a holiday. This is the beginning of the Great Decoupling. In this simulation, we explore what happens when all imports from China to the United States stop instantly. To understand the scale of this, you have to realize that China is not just a supplier of cheap toys. It is the world's factory, producing the screw, the chip, and the chemical powder inside almost everything you own. Let's enter this collapse through the eyes of Mike, a supply chain director for a major US electronics manufacturer. He is staring at his inventory dashboard, which is flashing red alerts for 4,000 different components. Mike picks up the phone to call his supplier in Shenzhen, but the line is dead, blocked by a digital firewall. He realizes that his factory in Detroit, which employs 5,000 Americans, has exactly 3 days of parts left. We think that made in America means independence, but that is a comforting lie we tell ourselves. The steel casing is made here, but the rare earth magnets inside the motor come exclusively from Chinese mines. By day 3, the panic hits the retail sector, specifically the big box stores like Walmart and Target. These stores operate on a model of high volume and low cost, relying on a constant river of goods from Asia. You walk into the electronics aisle, looking for a new laptop charger, but the hooks are empty. The manager is putting up a sign that says, "Limit 1 per customer on all batteries, cables, and phones." But the real crisis is happening in the pharmacy, hidden behind the counter where you can't see it. The United States imports 97% of its antibiotics and ibuprofen ingredients from Chinese chemical plants. Pharmacists begin to hoard supplies of amoxicillin and penicillin, saving them only for life-threatening cases. A simple ear infection or a strep throat, usually cured for $10, suddenly becomes a dangerous health risk. By day 7, the manufacturing sector in the United States begins to suffer a component cardiac arrest. Ford and GM have to shut down their assembly lines, not because they lack steel, but because they lack chips. A modern car has 3,000 microchips. If you are missing just one, the car cannot drive off the lot. Mike walks through his silent factory. The robots are paused, and the workers are sent home with indefinite furlough notices. The shockwave moves to the construction industry. You can't build a house without screws, nails, and power tools. Most power tools, drills, saws, sanders, are assembled in Asia. Without them, job sites fall silent across the country. By day 14, the inflation super spike destroys the purchasing power of the American middle class. With the supply of goods cut by 40%, the price of everything remaining on the shelves doubles or triples. You go to buy a pair of sneakers for your child. The price has jumped from $60 to $250 overnight. Clothing stores are empty. Fast fashion brands go bankrupt instantly because their entire inventory is stuck overseas. The dollar store economy evaporates. Stores that sold cheap household goods simply close their doors forever. Millions of low-income families who relied on these stores for affordable basics are pushed into deep poverty. Mike tries to find alternative suppliers in Vietnam or India, but every other company in the world is doing the same. The phone lines in Mumbai and Hanoi are jammed. The factories there are booked solid for the next 5 years. By month 1, the technology withdrawal symptoms begin to affect the daily life of every citizen. Your iPhone breaks. You go to the Apple Store. They tell you it cannot be fixed because there are no screens. There are no new phones to buy. The used phone market explodes. A cracked iPhone 12 sells for $2,000. We realize how disposable our technology was. Now we have to treat every device like a precious heirloom. The e-commerce giants, Amazon and eBay, look like ghost towns with millions of currently unavailable listings. The prime promise of 2-day delivery is a memory. Delivery times stretch to months, if the item exists at all. By month 3, the healthcare system faces a critical shortage of medical devices and sterile equipment. Syringes, surgical gloves, and IV bags were largely manufactured in global hubs that are now inaccessible. Surgeons have to reuse equipment, sterilizing it the old-fashioned way, increasing the risk of infection. MRI machines break down and cannot be repaired because the replacement magnets are stuck on the other side of the ocean. Mike is now working in a warehouse, stripping parts from broken washing machines to repair other ones. The economy has shifted from consumerism to cannibalization, eating our own waste to survive. The automotive junkyards become gold mines. People are scavenging alternators and starter motors. A new car is a luxury for the ultra-rich. The average person is driving a 15-year-old vehicle held together with tape. By month 6, the geopolitical tension turns into an internal political crisis within the United States. The Rust Belt states demand the government force factories to reopen and build everything domestically. But you cannot build a factory in 6 months. It takes years to build the machines that build the machines. We lost the institutional knowledge of how to manufacture small electronics. The engineers retired years ago. The government launches the Reshoring Act, pouring trillions into building new industrial parks. But there is a labor shortage. Americans have forgotten how to work on assembly lines for 12 hours a day. We have a population of marketing managers and app developers, but we need machinists and welders. The education system has to pivot instantly, turning colleges into vocational trade schools to save the nation. By year 1, the landscape of the American home has changed dramatically. It is emptier and simpler. The clutter is gone. You don't buy plastic junk for birthdays anymore because it doesn't exist. Toys are made of wood, carved by local artisans. Furniture is repaired, not replaced. The throwaway culture is dead. If you own a plastic bucket, you patch it when it cracks. Mike finally gets his factory running again, but they aren't making complex smart fridges anymore. They are making simple, mechanical ice boxes that don't require chips, because that is all they can build. The standard of living has regressed to the level of the 1970s, but with better internet, if the routers work. We are poorer in material goods, but we are becoming more self-reliant and less dependent on distant ships. The environment actually improves. Without the massive cargo ships burning bunker fuel, the oceans are cleaner. The smog over Los Angeles clears up because there are fewer trucks hauling containers from the port. By year 3, a new equilibrium is reached, known as the fortress economy. The US produces 80% of what it consumes, but the variety of goods is drastically reduced. You can buy a TV, but there is only one brand. It is expensive, and it is thick and heavy. You can buy clothes, but they are made of cotton grown in Texas, simple and durable, with no synthetic blends. We realized that globalization was a trade-off. We traded security for cheap abundance. When the abundance stopped, we had to build the security back up from scratch, brick by brick. The empty shelves scenario didn't starve us to death, but it starved our addiction to novelty. It forced us to look at an object and ask, do I really need this, or do I just want it because it's cheap? Mike looks at the first 100% made in USA computer rolling off his new assembly line. It costs $3,000 and is slower than the old ones, but it works and nobody can take it away. He realizes that independence is expensive, uncomfortable, and difficult, but it is real. The era of the global supermarket is over, replaced by the era of the local workshop. So, walk through your house and pick up 5 random objects: a blender, a shoe, a toy, a lamp, a phone. Turn them over and read the sticker. Made in China. Made in China. Made in China. Imagine if those stickers represented ghosts, objects that can never be replaced once they break. Do you have the skills to fix them? Do you have the tools? Do you have the spare parts? The supply chain is a fragile thread that spans the ocean, holding your lifestyle together. If that thread snaps, the shelves go bare, and the world you know disappears in 30 days. Tell me in the comments. If you couldn't buy anything new for a year, what item would you miss the most? I'll see you in the comments, trying to fix my toaster with a paperclip.